Привет, 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 привет. Я сейчас нахожусь в Калифорнии, Лос-Анджелесе, район самый потрясающий, район Беверли-Хиллз. Кто я такая? Меня зовут Алина, и я маркетолог с более чем 10-летним стажем. За это время я работаю в таких больших корпорациях, как Nestlé и Ferrero. Перед тем, как переехать сюда, я руководила командой трейд-маркетинг или шоппер-маркетинг Ferrero. Чем я там занималась? Я отвечала за знание и понимание потребителей, за развитие и продвижение брендов, таких как Рафаэлло, Ферреро Роше, Нутелла, Киндер, и делала это на международном уровне. Переехав сюда, я готова своими знаниями делиться.
Привет, меня зовут Даша, и в нашей команде я отвечаю за SMM и диджитал стратегии. Более того, я занимаюсь этим уже более 5 лет, всему научилась на практике и даже создала свой собственный стартап. Это было первое онлайн-медиа в России, посвященное свадьбам, называется проект Vibes. Мы достигли в свое время более 1,5 миллиона подписчиков на разных медиаплатформах, и примерно полгода назад проект успешно продали. Уже находясь здесь, в Калифорнии, я встретила своего партнера Алину, и мы создали наше собственное агентство под названием Дали. Что такое Дали? Дали — это маркетинговое агентство 360 градусов. Что это означает? Это означает, что мы узнаем, кто ваша целевая аудитория, что ей нужно, занимаемся продвижением проекта, пиар-коммуникациями, маркетинговой стратегией и, конечно, SMM-продвижением.
Помимо работы в нашем агентстве Дали и помощи брендам в развитии, мы запустили проект, который назвали Market Yourself. В рамках этого проекта мы встречаемся с очень успешными людьми в своих индустриях и спрашиваем у них, как им удалось добиться такого успеха. Они рассказывают нам про свои победы и поражения, про свой путь, про те уроки, которые они выучили, и про инсайты, которые извлекли. И сегодня они помогают им идти вперед и добиваться все новых и новых высот. Всеми этими историями мы делимся здесь, для того, чтобы вдохновить как можно больше людей развиваться самим и развивать свои бренды. И наш первый сезон мы посвятили свадьбе. Почему? Потому что Калифорния — это признанный трендсеттер в этой индустрии. Также здесь живет очень много успешных, талантливых профессионалов, которые стояли у истоков этой индустрии. Этот сезон мы делаем в коллаборации с известным, талантливым, прекрасным фотографом Ромой Ивановым. И сейчас он подробнее о себе расскажет.
Алина, большое спасибо за такое представление. Меня зовут Роман Иванов, и в этом году я стал лучшим свадебным фотографом в России по версии Top 100 Awards. Для кого будут интересны эти видео? В первую очередь для тех, кто хочет развиваться как профессионал в свадебной индустрии. Мы берем интервью у мировых звезд свадебного бизнеса, и все, кто с этим как-то сопричастен, все, кто хочет получить такую информацию, пожалуйста, смотрите, будет очень и очень интересно.
Зачем вам это нужно? На самом деле готовых решений нет, но зато есть опыт успешных людей, которым они с удовольствием с вами поделились.
Он поможет, первое, найти ответы на вопросы, второе, расширить границы и посмотреть по-новому на возможности развития.
Третье — заполнить пробелы. И четвертое — узнать, как работает рынок Калифорнии.
Пятое — понять, как мировые топовые свадебные агентства ищут себе подрядчиков. И шестое — много веселых моментов и классных инсайтов. Будет интересно.
Сегодня у нас в гостях прекрасная семейная пара Heather, основательница свадебного агентства Amorology, и ее муж Трой, владелец дизайнерского бюро Backup Backdrops. Можете себе представить, что они начали совместный путь аж 17 лет назад, и у них есть 4 детей? Мы — нет. Но давайте вернемся к их творчеству. Сегодня их агентство одно из самых успешных в Америке. Проекты Amorology не раз публиковались в Martha Stewart Weddings, Style Me Pretty, InStyle Weddings, The Note и других уважаемых изданиях. Как говорят сами герои, их отличают любовь к классической романтике и при этом яркие сочные цвета. Видимо, расположение в солнечном Сан-Диего сказывается. А еще они любят создавать необычные акценты. Только посмотрите, например, на эти необычные зоны рассадки гостей. В нашем интервью пара поделилась историей создания агентства, как они разделяют личную жизнь и работу, где ищут вдохновение для своих проектов и на что обращают внимание при выборе подрядчика. Ну что, поехали?
Yeah. Okay. So, let's start. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? How did you start? And the mainly, what I'm curious about, how did you start both of the projects, and how do you communicate with each other? Like, do you work like all the time together, or you have like your own projects? How you
how you started and how you then figure out
Yeah.
The responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. You want me to start?
Yeah, let me just close this door real quick.
Okay, so I'll let Troy get back here too, because we're getting a little bit of echo, but I'm hoping you guys can hear us okay. So do you guys want me to wait for him to jump back in really quick?
No.
Come on. Come get in here. They can edit that.
All right, sorry.
Okay.
Now I'm back.
So I'll go ahead and start. Yeah, I mean, we began this journey, 17 years ago. So it's been a long time, 17 years ago. And when we first started, well, I was doing social work years ago, and doing like intense case therapy with families. And I loved working with families and kind of helping youth. And then we got married, and
that was in 2003.
Yes. And as soon as we got married, we had a friend reach out to us who was at our wedding, a mother, and she had wanted to see if we would come help with her daughter's wedding. And I think she had just like kind of seen what we did at our own wedding and was like, I would love for you to come help me. And so I was excited. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like I would love to do that. And so we jumped into that, and things, quickly began to snowball from there. And more people kept asking us to help with their weddings. And so I always say, this job really feels like it found us, like it chose us, because it quickly became a family business. My mother, who was and is an interior designer at the time, she got pulled into doing floral design. So she started doing a lot of florals for our weddings too. And so we started working, all together on that realm. And of course, Troy naturally got pulled in. And as we started to do more and more when it came to design, we started building backdrops, 17 years ago, which was not a thing back then. It was something that was new and different. And I really loved to approach weddings as almost like an editorial style. I loved being able to kind of see it as visuals of what you would see in a magazine. And so I started to kind of create these images at those weddings where they could be more like art installations too. And so things started there, and so that's where Troy came in.
So yeah, she started doing what she was doing, and I had my own stuff I was doing. And then in, about 2008, we decided we're going to do this together full time as a couple. And we've been doing it ever since. And Heather brings her strengths, I bring my strengths, and we have a really good
working dynamic
team
too.
Here.
And that's something that I think is really rare, and that we value every day. It's like we have so much fun getting to work together, and it's what has kept me going in this business. I don't think I would still be in it if it wasn't for him, and that I get to spend all my weekends still with my husband, and we get to,
that's fair. Yeah.
We get to do all those. There are date nights away, at the same time we're working, but there also are moments to tuck away during dinner and have those few moments, alone together with our vendor friends that are there too. And so it's, really been a really fun process through these years that we still love it. Yeah.
So your mother is also helping you with all the weddings. So it's like the whole family business.
So she used to do a lot more. You can imagine it's been, like I said, 17 years now since she started. So she kind of pulled out of florals. She'll do them every once in a while now, but she's focused more on interior design just because flowers are so labor intensive, and they take such a toll on you. And so she's kind of stepped out of the floral end of things. And as I started to have babies, we have 4 kids.
Yeah, we know.
Yes. So that is, kept us so busy too. And so when we would go on international weddings or things like that too, my mom was always with the kids. And so she's kind of stepped out of it a little bit more so that we could really thrive too in what we were doing as well. So, yeah.
But how can you manage actually to separate your private life from the work life? Because I can imagine being a wedding planner is particular, and you have this is your whole family business. I think it takes 24 hours per 7, right? So and you have 4 kids, you have such a big family. So how can you do that?
It's really been a lot of learning balance over the years. And this is something that Troy and I feel like we talk so much about this because it's been such a process in our life to figure out how to do that. And it took us a while to really figure out like how we could do that and do it well. And it's a lot of juggling. I mean, there has just been, we often say like we live in this beautiful chaos, a lot of times, but it's also so, it's so great to be able to rely on each other. And when I have a project, Troy can step in with the kids. And when I have something going on, we are constantly kind of sharing in that. And now our kids are older. Like it was really hard when our little ones were babies. I mean, I had all my babies through this business. And so, Troy would be bringing me the babies during cocktail hour to feed them quickly. And then I'd be back at it. And like, so it's just a lot of juggling. But now, I mean, my kids they've all grown up on weddings. They all, really love them and love, getting involved with us on like coming up with ideas. And now they're brainstorming with us on fun ways that we can bring things in. And so we have a good time with them. Like,
yeah, for us, if you're asking how do we do life and work?
Yeah.
And it's kind of blended together. Like even when we're sitting around the dinner table with the kids, we'll be talking about, hey, we've got this wedding coming up. What do you guys think about this idea? Or what do you think about that idea? And they'll get involved too and have some fun things to say occasionally. So,
they've had some good ideas.
They've had some great ideas. But we try to, it's really a matter of just being able to shift gears and pivot. So we're talking about design, or we're talking about logistics, and then we're heading to the kitchen to make dinner, and then we're off to get the kids to bed, and then we're shifting back to emails. So it's really just a matter of being, with us, what we found works is just being flexible with our schedules and trying to just take care of business.
And set a schedule. I mean, I've said this before too, but I mean, really set a schedule where you can, so your clients know what to expect of you. And I mean, I think that's a really huge thing, is always let them know, like, we don't work Sundays and Mondays, that's our weekend. We're in the office, Tuesdays through Fridays, and Saturdays we're out at events. But I really try and take that time on Sundays and Mondays to just soak up that time with our family. I tell that right in the beginning with my clients. I let them know, hey, these are our hours. This is when you can expect to find me. And they've been so wonderful and knowing what to expect. And so it really changed things where, in the beginning they were calling us at all hours of the day, and, we were talking to them, every day, all day, and so, so it really, that's become really good, just being able to really let them know when our hours are and when to expect to be able to, jump on calls with us and things like that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot there too. I could go on about boundaries. I feel like that's a really huge thing in a successful business.
Imagine you have such a huge family. You need to set some boundaries.
Yes.
You need to set organize your life.
Yeah, and they're part of what makes you successful too. I mean, I think it's really when you have those boundaries and you take time for your own life too, it recharges you creatively too, and so it allows you to be your best and give your best too. So.
And kids can also be, a super big motivator. Like when it's time to work, it's time to work. It's not time to mess around because you got a bunch of mouths to feed. So
that's true.
It really does focus you in the moments when you need to focus. Yeah. I've found.
And I mean, this business is so much more than just a hobby of ours. Like it started as a hobby in the beginning, and it became, it's our everything. It's what we live for. And so, in the time of something like this with COVID, we can't just sit back and wait for things to happen. We have to make things happen because we have a family to provide for too. So it's a whole other, motivator for sure for us as well. For sure. Yeah.
Do you think your kids will also pursue this career in the wedding industry?
I think
they already do it now.
That's a good question. I mean, I think that all of our kids are very creative, and they're all creative in their own ways. But I think my girls maybe. Yeah. But I think they.
I think we've got a graphic designer in our family. We've got a photographer in our family.
My little girl wants to be a photographer, and so there's like
maybe a DJ. We might have a DJ in our family.
But they all love like different aspects of weddings, and so it's fun for them to kind of get to see that there are careers out there like that where you can use your creativity too.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how fun is it like to growing up in like creative family, because usually like the parents, it's like doctors.
Yeah, a little bit boring.
or-
Usually parents perceive like boring, they set expectations, they give you rules, and in your case it's like the whole
you
bunch
get
of creative
to come
people.
on events, to work, like to see all
Yeah.
these creative people around.
And
Yeah.
you initiate these conversations, what we're gonna do, what's your ideas, guys, and like
Yeah.
It is fun. And another benefit our kids have is the connections that we've made through the industry. Our kids are friends with people from all over the world that we've known and met. They have friends in France. They have friends in Ibiza. They have friends all over because they've gotten to know the people that we work with and the people we love. So that's a fun thing for them too.
Yeah.
so cool. And and speaking about the like more business part of the job, like it's relevant. I mean, for sure you have your personal brand. How you build it, like it was initially done, or it was done for purpose, or how you figure out like how to communicate yourself?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I think it really, our brand started so organically. Like when we first started, we just loved people. We loved people. We loved families. Like I said, my past job that years ago I started and was all about building families. And that's what I loved about weddings, is that we were helping to build families. And so, and get to be there on this like most important day and most, memorable moment that families will hold on to, and I just loved that aspect of it. So when we started, it was, a big part of it was about families, and of course, creating for them and design and that aspect too. And telling a story. And so, it was naturally kind of a part of who we were. And so our family, I would share things, about my family on Instagram and things like that. And really that's what I wanted to connect to my couples. And I wanted my couples to connect to me because, our family, our life is such a big part of what we do. And so that brand, naturally kind of became about that. It became about love, and it became about, just that connection with people. And so, I mean, I feel like it's kind of,
I think that, it's always been important for us to have a good design. It's always been important for us to get to the logistics, but really the challenge has been, how do we bring the love of the couple has out in the event?
Mm-hmm.
How do we get that relationship that they have and communicate that to all the guests? And do that in a beautiful way. That is really our goal. That's what we're shooting for.
And so every wedding that we ever create, we never create the same wedding twice. We really are always looking to create something that's new, that's different, that's very much our couples. We go to great lengths to get to know them, and also to know their story and how they met. And, sometimes it's something that is really may seem small that will jump out at us, but we're like, oh, that's so beautiful about you guys, or that's something that is so special and different. I mean, we had one couple I can think of. I mean, there's so many stories, you guys. Like, I know, like when we're asked to say what our favorite wedding is, it's like nearly impossible. We have, like, every wedding is so special to us, and they're so meaningful to us. And I mean, one of them, Aaron and Jason, we can talk about them. I mean, I love their story. Like, this is a good example of kind of how maybe design started for them too. But they let us know that, they were at the beach one day, and Erin, our bride, had lost her grandma's wedding ring. It was her favorite ring that she wore all the time. And anyways, she was heartbroken, and she had been with Jason at the time. He went back to that beach, got a metal detector.
Rented a metal detector, scoured the beach.
Scoured it all over to go find that grandma's ring,
He found the lot, but not the ring.
He found the ring.
He found the ring.
He found the ring.
He found the ring. And it was like when I heard that story, I mean, it was just a side story, but I'm like, that is such a great example of how much he loves her. Like that he would go to those great lengths to really scour that beach and search it out and do all he could to find that for her. And so I, wanted to pull that into their story. And so we brought magnifying glasses into their wedding, and we did, a whole, like, you are my treasure concept. And each guest received like their own magnifying glass with, their name on it to help them find their tables. And so things like that, became a part of their day. And, they're some of our favorite people. They now have 2 babies, and like, we still stay in touch with them. But there's just those things they connect us so much closer to our couples that they become like family to us too.
And communicating what we do and what we love about our couples and how we celebrate them is an important part of our branding. It's an important part of how we communicate what Amorology is to other people. So we love telling stories about our couples and their love stories. And that's really what our brand is. It's telling those stories of the love stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about the couple and communication, how do they usually find you? Because I feel like you have what I love about your Instagram. I mean, your both Instagrams. It's more about you. It looks like it's your private page / like working page, right? So it's a lot of like, you can meet all your family, your children, I don't know, just to see your philosophy. So
like your daily routines.
So I'm wondering what part is social media like place for you? Like, is it like, so most of your clients find you through referral or social media, or still it's more about like blog, like magazine publications or some Google search? So what do you think is important? Like, if you will just prioritize it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
well, number one is referrals for sure.
Yeah. Word of mouth is huge. I mean, that's such a big part of it. But it's a combination. Like, I definitely think people are finding us on Instagram. They're finding us through our features and our publications. And that's a big thing. They're finding them through our vendors who are sharing about us too, and passing that along. And of course our clients, past clients is huge. But Instagram is another part of it. I think that definitely plays into it. And I think they always say, people need to see things 7 times before, they want to invest in you. And so I think it's really, getting yourself out there in as many places that you can and sharing who you are and what you create is going to benefit your business. And so, And as far as Instagram, especially with Amorology's Instagram, we feel that it's important to not just share the pretty things that we do, but to share about who we are and what we're doing as a family and as a business. But, and that was one thing, I don't know if we talked about it yet, but what we want a couple to come to us for is for our brand, is for that connection, because we want to tell their story. So we're going to get to know them on a deep level where we can really dig into their story, who they are, how they met, what their backgrounds are. And we feel that it's a good way to connect, for them to know about us, for them to know who we are. And it does make people more comfortable to open up and to build that relationship, because really our clients have become friends of ours. Yeah, and a lot of times they come to us and they already know things about us, and so that's wonderful. It's like they already know about things that they may connect with us on too. And so, I think that's an important part of building trust too with each other.
I think that some couples come to you like to bless for happy marriage, because you are such a great, family with kids, and they want to be blessed by you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I love that, and I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
I do too. I really hope that.
Yeah, and I imagine like right now you have a lot of clients, a lot of projects like every year. Are you still getting involved in every project, or you have like the big team and you kind of staying like as ambassadors of the brand, more like for like first meeting, for example, with a client, and after you will just delegate it to your team?
So we have a great team. I love our team. I am always usually involved in all of the events that we do. there may be occasions where we'll have like 2 weddings on one weekend, and one of our other coordinators on our team will take that wedding, but I'm always involved in the design on things too, and helping to do that end of things. But our team is incredibly beneficial. They're also involved with us on things where we're, again, brainstorming together on design, and we're, sending out all the emails, and we're sourcing vendors, and we're doing all the contracting and all of those things. So we work really closely with the girls that are in our office on the day-to-day with things too. And I'm always, because of that close contact that we have together with our team, we're able to sit and talk about each of our clients and come up with what needs to be tackled each day for them. My goal with my clients is always to be able to be working on something with each of my clients at any given time. So we usually are always trying to send out an email to them, every day that we're in the office, so that things are moving forward and progressing too, always. And so we tackle that all together too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because you developed such a strong personal brand, how important is it for your clients, to you in particular, to be involved in a wedding? Do they have like this kind of thing? I want Heather to be like on my wedding day there, and I don't care if you have like 3 weddings on this weekend. I just want her, like, is it
you to pop up?
Yeah.
I do get that occasionally, yes, where they're like, we want to make sure you're there, and like. And for those clients, I'll always be upfront with them and be like, yes, I can do this, or, no, we already booked for that day, but I have another, I have one of our other team coordinators who can do that. But yes, we do get those clients who are wanting to make sure that they have, us with them on the day of too. And, we'll always, try and make that happen whenever we can. We do, like for my full service clients, I really always love to be able to be there when I can too. But we'll have some design and partial planning packages and things like that where I can do that, but the other girls can kind of lead the way on the day of too. So yeah.
Do you have a question? No. So speaking about power of networking, I know a lot of people, especially like photographers, who wants to work with you. I actually know one guy for sure. His name is Yuri Yatel. He's a
yes, I love Yuri. Yes.
I know that you already worked with him, and I know him like since he actually moved here like, a couple of years ago, and I remember him asking the questions like, how can I just get like attached? How can I connect with them? What should I do to get them notice me? So what would be your recommendation for everybody who wants to work, for example, with you? How can they approach you? Because I can just like get a lot of emails every day.
We do. We get a lot of emails every day. And I really do my best to try and get back to every one of those emails. Like that's really my goal as my team. Like when someone is sending us an email, I want to give them the time back to respond to them for sure. I think, it's sending your work, reaching out and, making that effort to connect is, I think, good. You never know if someone's going to, be wanting to work with you or not until you try. So I would say reach out to them and try. That said, like we get a lot of different things where people, will come and say, hey, we want to come, possibly stop by and, bring you ice cream or whatever it is, or let's come and sit and chat. And
always open for ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay, I will write it down. Ice cream.
There's always, those opportunities. I would say like, send your website. Let us like take a peek at that and see if it's at like the level that is going to be something that we think our clients may be interested in. And I can usually tell pretty quickly by looking at people's websites whether or not it may be a good fit for our clients, too. And so we'll take the time to look at that. Sometimes they're there and I'm like, yes, I see something special in this person. And this is something that, I'd love to kind of find out more about them. Other times it may be like, oh, they're almost there. They still need to do a little bit of work to kind of get to where we may need them to be, for our clientele. But I don't think it hurts to ever reach out. And I will say, like, there's so many networking events out there. Like, obviously there's, global events like Engage that can be powerful and can be great to get you in front of people that you may normally not have been able to. I personally love like intimate connections. I mean, we'll go to a handful of networking events every now and again, but as you know, we're busy and we're juggling all those things that we've kind of talked about with our clients and family and everything else. But I love the moments that we've had where people have come and connected with us and been like, hey, we're going to bring dinner and we're going to come like make dinner with you and your family. Or we're going to like, let's go sit out and order pizza and I'll hang out. And those are the people that like I have really connected with to where they're top of mind. I mean, when I'm thinking like, oh, who's a great photographer that I'm going to work with? Of course, my mind is going to go right to those people that we spent time with and that have, shown us love too. And that we, just know their talents are amazing and incredible. And so they're going to be top of mind. And so I really try and have those more, kind of smaller networking connections too, where we can build our relationships, because at the end of the day, we love to work with the people we love, too.
Yeah, sure. I think it's
true.
more about personality, right? It could be like a real talented person, but you just need to somehow connect.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
sure.
It absolutely needs to be both. They need to be talented, but we also need to know that they're going to treat our clients with love on the day of, and that those clients are going to show up and they're going to feel like they, that they are as special as they are, on that day too. So yeah, absolutely.
But speaking about some events for professionals, which one would you recommend? I heard about Engage for sure. Maybe you can recommend something else for people who just trying to
For searching for this communication.
I mean, I think Engage is the one that's probably for like global and internationally. I think that's the main one that we would recommend and know of.
I think everybody kind of, because it's an in-person networking experience, finding your local and regional
like the Knot will do parties too occasionally that are great, and I mean it's just
resorts are throwing parties for event professionals occasionally. Just keep an eye out for those type of opportunities that you can really connect with people in your local market. Because when you're working with your local market, then you're really able to show off your talents and then share that online and show the world what you can do.
Yeah, but I will say I love pulling people and vendors from different states and from different countries. I love that. I mean, I think that there are some really amazing people out there world over, that like, it's really about, connecting and who the client is going to be drawn to as well too. Like, when we've worked with Greg Fink, for example, and we love him. He's like one of our favorite people in the world. And like when we get a chance to get out to France, like it's such a treat to see him and have him come to California. So there's people, the world over that we just adore and love. And so I think, oceans may separate us, but I feel like there is still a way to bring all of those things together in events. And it feels like a smaller world, I feel like, in our industry that way.
And I mean, people in general love to make friends. So, reach out and make friends. I think this is a good time for people to be reaching out and spending time, networking and just on a genuine level, genuinely reaching out authentically, like, hey, hi, I'm this person. I love what you do. I'd love to work together sometime. And by the way, how can I help you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a good thing. I will say I've had a lot of people reach out and connect with us where they've said like, hey, we want to do your headshots or, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we've just gotten our headshots and it doesn't, we don't have a need for it, but it's worth asking and checking and seeing if there's a value that you can add to their business too, so that it becomes a win-win situation. Because as much as I would love to be able to sit down and talk with every vendor that comes to us and reaches out to us, I'm limited on time. Like I can't always do that with everyone, but it is, again, you never know when it is going to work out too. So, yeah.
And, I'm wondering, like, I know that lots of vendors want to work with you, but that's sometimes you have situation when you need a fresh blood and you search for some vendors for purpose, or like you have a unique couple and you understand, with all the respect for the current like photographers, you need something different and you have to do the search. Does it happen? And if yes, how you find this?
How are we people? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, there are so many people out there. So, I mean, we have such an extensive photography list, you know, I mean, it's really constantly curated and updated with the, you know, people just using photography as an example. You know, we have over 100 people on our list, but every year we're going through that and we're, you know, fine tuning and, you know, figuring out like, what's going to stay there as a fit for us. But when we do need to go, like when we're doing weddings that may be, you know, out of our state, if we're like in North Carolina or if we're, you know, wherever it is that we may land, I'm usually looking at, I usually will go to Style Me Pretty's little black book because I can usually find good people there, that I'm usually asking around with my other vendor friends. Like a lot of our florists may be like, hey, who do you know out in, you know, North Carolina, for example, that has maybe come to your workshop that you thought was amazing? Or like, you know, so I'm usually asking around also with our other vendors to see, you know, who may be incredible out in those areas. Then I'm also searching, like we will do a deep dive into Instagram and look on there too and see, you know, who we can find that way too. So it is like, it's a culmination of a whole bunch of different ways that we're searching when we, you know, need to maybe step outside of like vendors that we already know too. If that helps as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I ask?
Hi.
You just you told how to start to work with you, send your portfolio, or you search for some. I will speak from photographer point of view.
Yeah.
But in Russia, I work with lots of agency, but sometimes it's very interesting how to stay to work with agency after many projects. So we know how to start to work with you, but how to continue more and more, have more and more projects from you. And maybe the question is not about personality, because it's the first and most important thing as far as I understood. Maybe it's more about the product which photographer gives to client. And yeah, I think the quality product, the quality.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's what I would say. I would say deliver an amazing product and you will have us, you know, like, I mean, I think like a lot of our vendors who we may not have worked with yet will offer to do it the first time at a discounted rate for our clients. Because and I know I'm kind of going back to the beginning and I will come back to what you just asked, but a lot of our vendors will also reach out and say, hey, we will do this first wedding for you at a deeply discounted rate so that you can see how we work and you can see the quality that we're going to give you. And then I can go to my clients and I can say, hey, we haven't worked with them before. I can't 100% vouch for, you know, how this is going to go. But if you're willing to kind of jump in here with us and take that risk, seeing from them, we love. Like what we're seeing so far in their portfolio is beautiful. But, you know, like they're willing to discount this if you're willing to take that risk. And then, you know, we definitely have clients who are like, yes, that sounds wonderful. Like I'm willing to do it at that price point. It's worth that value for me. And then after we see what they deliver, and we get back, you know, not just, you know, 20 beautiful images, but, you know, hundreds of beautiful images where we're like, these are so gorgeous, we can't, you know, even pick our favorites. Then I'm like, sold. Okay. And then I can go back to the next client and be like, we've worked with them. They're incredible. They deliver beautiful images. And it's much easier for us to then pitch to future clients because we've had that firsthand experience with you too. Does that make sense too?
Yes, yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also makes sense that it's normal to give a discount for the first time you work with some agency. Yeah, because personally me have a fear that if I say that I have discounts to work with you, so it looks like I don't have enough projects, enough weddings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another approach you could take is not just I'll discount my price, but this is my price, and I'll also include you know, whatever extra hours, because that way you're not necessarily devaluing what you do, but you're also
adding value.
Adding value.
Adding value.
And that's my goal. Like, I always, you know, I'm obviously, you know, kind of juggling both things. I want to help my clients to get, you know, the best value for what their budget is. And I also want to take care of my vendors. I mean, I want to make sure that my vendors are having an amazing experience and that they are so excited about this project that they're coming into. I will tell you, there's been times where I've had photographers that have come on board and we've gone the extra mile in our business because we want to show up and make sure there is enough for them to shoot that is beautiful, that's going to hand them an editorial feel. So sometimes it's even coming out of our pockets where we're willing to put in that extra, you know, effort and money on our end to make sure that every wedding that we do is deliverable and something to be so proud of for our whole team, you know? So, I mean, that's just something else that, like, we always want to make sure we're bringing that value to our vendors as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious at this point. I mean, you achieved like so much. You like in the top of your like market,
On
like,
the peak.
And the peak.
Yeah.
Do you still have like dreams? Because usually when people start, they have dreams like, oh, I want to shoot there. Oh, I want to organize or plan wedding here. I want to.
It's easy.
build.
It's easy to dream when you're in the very beginning, but when you're
on the
at some point, how it happens, I don't know.
Do you still have some projects that you will able to do for free just because? No, not for free, but I don't know, discount just because you dream about it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I had such a big bucket list, you know, over the last years of like things that I wanted to see happen and things that I wanted to, you know, see come to fruition in our career. And we have achieved a lot of those. Like, we really have been able to you know, hit those pinnacles, which we're so grateful for. I mean, I think that's like, everyone has been such like a little blessing in our life where it feels like,
I think the fun thing about achieving, you know, whatever, any goal in any part of your life is the satisfaction it gives you, but also that it just pushes that horizon out further for more goals.
Yeah.
You know, you've accomplished something and you feel, oh, I've accomplished this, I can do way more. And so it's not just for yourself, but when you help other people to do that, I think that there's a lot of satisfaction just in that. So, you know, we've been doing a lot of training things and a lot of Zoom calls with people interviewing and sharing what we have. And I think that is a lot of what we want to do, is give back to people.
That's another aspect. Yeah, we love
and
being
help
able
other
to,
people succeed.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, is just being able to lift others and what they're doing too. And you know, I would love to do even more international travel. Like, we have to be selective on how many we can kind of do a year, but I do love that aspect too. And when we get our hands on like a new location and a new venue that we may not have been at before, that's exciting to me. Like, I always, I don't know, feel like re-inspired too in those different locations. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just, we're always looking how we can grow our business and find those new goals too. Yeah. Anything else you can think of?
A wedding on every continent. That's what we want.
That'd be amazing.
That's definitely a new horizon. Especially where it's in Antarctic.
Yeah, Antarctica would be rough.
I've got a warm coat. We can do it.
Why not? I mean, yeah, that's cool. Okay, and so you've been in this industry for such a long time, 17 years. I think like the whole Russian wedding industry exists just for 15 years. Which is unbelievable. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit, like, what did you notice how like the whole industry has shifted? Because like when you started, it was no social media, for example. Like, what's changed, and what do you think is going to happen with us like later, in your opinion, of course, because nobody can predict it.
Oh, it's so hard to predict anything right now, right?
Yeah, that's true.
When we first started, you know, things were very much about like, you know, pretty weddings. Like it was very much like, you know, you had your two colors and it was a very like kind of, you know, just, it was all about just having a pretty wedding. And I think where we stepped in and where we got recognized for, because people were not doing things like that, was having, you know, was telling stories. Like that was something that people were not doing back then. And it's really what we got recognized for, was doing kind of conceptual weddings and bringing in those storytelling moments to the day where, you know, everywhere guests looked, they would have like a little extra piece or surprise element of things that kind of wove itself into the whole overall feel. So that was definitely different. You know, you guys, if you do follow me and you know I love color, I am like such a big lover of color. So I never wanted to be limited to two colors. I mean, I could do it, and maybe now that would be a new challenge, you know, but yeah, I mean, I love a wide variety of colors too, and to be able to kind of pull in things that are unexpected that way. And so that was really not being done or being seen. And so all of these things have started to come into the industry over the years and have kind of become like almost like now staples in wedding industries, like backdrops not being done. Like that's a big thing now that we see in almost every single wedding, is some type of really beautiful art installation. Like it's really a whole aspect of creating something that is unique and as artistic and never been seen. And so brides are wanting that. Like that's something that they still have, you know, they wanted to be able to have something that is experiential for their guests. And so I will say that's the biggest change that we've seen, is that clients have gone from, you know, wanting something that was maybe just simple and pretty to something being completely experiential, to being where, you know, you have interactive band performances, to where there's things that that your guests get to show up and do at the weddings that are fun. You know, we've had weddings where we had a 40-foot Ferris wheel brought in. Yeah. Thank you. You know, and where we've had, you know, different elements that we bring in so that there's these fun, unexpected things that people actually get to go and experience. And so I think that's really a big part of it. People want to spend more time with their guests. So things have become extended from one day or a few hours to a weekend. But just kind of everything is, you know, everything has been a little bit more extended with that time that they get to be with their people. In the future, I mean, gosh, I think we're still going to see that. I think people are really going to want to like experience those things with the people that they love. But I think they may be a little bit more careful about honing in on their guest count. I think they're going to be a little bit more selective about who they're inviting to these events because of what we've all experienced, you know, with COVID. I think we'll see, you know, maybe a little bit more intimacy there. Like I've always been a huge firm believer that I can make a 300-person event or a 600-person event feel intimate. That is my goal. Like when I have those,
like how difficult to imagine how it is possible.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and we've had that. We've had where it really, you know, still, we had a 600-person event. Each guest was given their own individual cake with their name on it as their seating assignment, you know, and so they got to take
love to be guests on this wedding.
Right? Yes. But it was like they showed up and they each had their own little like cake that they got to take home that was like beautifully decorated just for them. Like things like that, where it's like there's ways to make them feel like, you know, they're carefully being thought of and, you know, thoughtfully considered in every way. And so, anyways, I do think maybe though, like, you know, even so, we'll see some people maybe scaling back with like
the guest count.
With the guest count. Yeah, and just also, you know, I guess we'll see like how things obviously develop with COVID, but, you know, just with different ways with smaller group tables and, you know, getting more creative with our ceremony layouts and things like that. We're in the midst of that right now with some of our clients. But I think just really, it will never, I don't think that desire to gather with the people you love will ever go away. Like, I think that's here to stay. And that's what makes us so hopeful for the future and excited too.
Yeah. And I think we have just a couple more questions.
Yeah, I have really one question from my side. Coming back to the dreamers, yeah, like we spoke about your dream, and we spoke like there are so many young people who wanna start their like doing weddings. So from the perspective of your experience, what would you recommend? How to start, or what to do, like right and wrong?
Yes.
Any.
Okay, so right out of the gate, I would say intern. Like, go find yourself an awesome internship with one of the best companies that you can find. Get out there and see how they are doing things, see how they have found success, learn about, the ins and outs of wedding planning, and find out if it's something that you even like. I mean, I think there's been we are strong believers in an internship program, and we've had, so many interns come through our office. And some, we see it in them right away, and we're like, they are great at this. Like and we've, hired them on permanently on some of those, and some have gone off and they've started their own businesses and different things. But I think, there's also been some that have been like, whoa, this is a lot of work. This is not, I thought this was going to be like crafting and like, pretty things and they don't know all the behind the scenes of all the things that go into a wedding day. So I would say really dive into like finding out what it means to do what we do, and if you really enjoy it and if you love it, so that you can stay in it for the long haul, too. And what else, Troy, would you say?
Well, I think starting with the people and telling people what you're doing, telling people what your goals, dreams are, what you're trying to accomplish. Because if it's a friend's uncle or a cousin's best friend, there's going to be people who are going to have a need that you can fill. So whether you're doing photography or flowers or wedding planning or building installations, start with telling people what you're doing, and I think that opportunities will just start coming. I mean, that's really where we got started, was just our own personal network of people.
And I will say something that I think is really important too, is also get to know the other vendors in your industry. Even if it's not in the niche that you are in, get to know the florists, get to know the photographers, go offer to shadow them for a day. Like I said with my story, I started with my mom, being a florist. In the early days, I would work with her on all the flower arrangements. I would put together the flower arrangements with her. I would learn all the different types of flowers. And so all those things, knowing those things, is now I've been able to take that into my own business as well, so that when I'm meeting with my florist, I know what the kinds of flowers are that I want. I know the kinds of things that are going to fit and what's available seasonally and all of those things. Get to know what the photographers need on the day of. Like, my job as a planner is to help everyone on that team to be successful. So I want to know what they are going to need that day to make them successful. And the more that I know, the more that I can help them. And so it's pretty much like, for us, when we show up an event, it is very much a team mentality. I am not like going around and ordering people to do this and that and this and that. I am there and I'm like, how can I help? We're here. Like, we're going to not only get the things done that we need to do, but it looks like you need some help here. I'm going to dive in and I'm going to help you here. And so that's a big part of our reputation. Like, that's who we are on the wedding day. We're a family on the wedding day. And so we're there to make sure that event is successful at whatever it needs to.
Yeah.
So does that answer that?
Yes. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think
I loved your point that firstly, the beginners need to realize what is wedding planning is real for sure. Like, to be like, no dreams, what it is, and then to understand if it works for you or not. This is what I loved the most. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I think we have a last question from me. My question is for Troy. I mean, I would never understand how you can like come up with some idea and actually just build it, right? Because like, you work with installations. So I'm wondering, can you tell us about maybe some like the most craziest thing that you actually just came up with and build it, or maybe from the unique material, or I don't know, something what you maybe you will share like this project with us later, so we will show it like to our viewers.
Or what do you
Sure,
think?
yeah.
we can
So
talk about that one.
Heather and I, well, we brainstorm a lot with ideas. So I don't remember if it was my idea or your idea, but we came up with an idea.
Mhm.
I started with the idea that was, I wanted to do, you guys may have seen this one. This one just comes to mind because I thought it was such a fun way that like Troy put it together too. But I wanted to do escort popsicles, and I wanted to have their names engraved on the popsicle. And when they ate, it was going to be sitting in little champagne glasses so they could sip their champagne and eat their popsicle during cocktail hour. And once they got through that popsicle, their table number would be at the inside of that popsicle, basically, you know? So they had to eat their way there.
Yeah.
But
So we had the popsicle sticks laser engraved with all the guest names and their table numbers. And then on the wall, we had an installation that looked like dripping popsicles made out of popsicle sticks that I individually painted and glued on there. And we had the phrase, pop it like it's hot. And it was a fun one. It was a fun one to do, a fun one to experience. It was just a lot of fun.
yeah.
So how do I come up with those ideas? I don't know. We just brainstorm and we just make it work.
And it develops, I feel like, sorry, what were you saying?
Like scroll Pinterest, how these ideas actually came up in your mind?
Oh yeah, just go to bed and wake up with this idea.
No, I feel like for me, that's my biggest source of inspiration. And I will,
Sleep on it.
yes,
Just
sleep on it is a
It'll come
huge
to
thing.
you.
Like we will brainstorm and we'll sit there and we'll talk about things. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I need like the perfect phrase for this. Like, what is it going to be? Like,
Mhm.
something with popsicles, and I would go around and around, and Troy and I would sit and talk back and forth. And then so many times things will come to me in my dreams, and I'll wake up the next morning and I'm like, this is what it is. This is it, And so, it is really, a good night's sleep does a lot. It goes a long way, and it really can refresh you. And I always joke about it because Troy always falls asleep like on me. I'll try and keep him up and be like, stay awake. Come on, they're coming tomorrow and we need to have this idea all locked in. Like, please don't go to sleep, and then he'll eventually fall asleep on me because he's been working so hard. But
I'm brainstorming. I'm just doing it with my eyes
in
closed.
his sleep. But then we'll always, somehow it comes together the next day too. So, good night's sleep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Get rest.
so you really do everything by yourself? Did you study it somewhere? Like you can work with all the materials?
Well, I don't know if I didn't really study anywhere. No, I just.
But you worked for builders. My
I
dad's
worked
a builder.
construction a lot in my life in the past, and I've kind of just always had a curiosity for craftsmanship. I've always really had a passion for making things and figuring out how things are made. So if there's a new project where I don't know how to do it, or there's a new material to work with, I get excited about that, and I'm like, hey, let's figure this out. So yeah, I mean that's really my answer. I didn't really study it. I just kind of.
He's an artist. He just
figured it
is a
out.
natural artist, and I feel like that's always kind of just been in your blood too, as well. But yeah, and he's inspired to do anything that's new that he can get his hands on. He loves to.
So you need to like create something new all the time, so keep him like inspired.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Like let's work with this material.
To feel alive, you always need this power of creation. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's quite unique. It's like one thing is to come up with this idea, and it's completely another thing actually
To implement.
it, like to build it. Because
He makes all my dreams come true, ladies.
I'm like a genie.
And, sorry, I'm not leaving you out,
Yeah.
but yes. He is really good at being able to kind of take something that's in my brain and bring that to life. And so that's amazing too.
We're a good team.
Yeah, you're a real team.
yeah,
Oh,
that's great.
that's great.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, and I love so many insights and tips and like minor details which you mention, and you understand the power of each detail. Yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you.
It's great talking with
It's
you all.
great talking with you guys. And yes, let us know if we can do anything else. But it was fun to be here with you guys too.
Yeah.
You've done a lot. Thank you so
Thank
much. It was
you.
an honor to meet
And-
you. So thank you.
And the last thing that when I look at you, I can't believe that you have 4 children. You are so young. When did you start? How long?
At the age of 15.
Late. I felt like I was, well, I don't know if I should say late, but I was 29 when I had my first baby. And
What? No.
What?
No
Yeah.
way.
in my oldest, yeah, like he's 14 now.
He's 14, yeah.
Yeah, so we have, our babies all kind of came in like
In a bunch.
yeah. We had babies. So we were like, it was a lot of kids. Our littlest is now 8 years old. So we have 14 to 8 years old now. Thank you, Roman. That's very nice of you. I will take that.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, guys, and it's a pleasure to.
Stay in touch. We can't wait to hear how everything goes with this too. So
Yeah, we will bring you some ice cream.
Yeah. Yes.
We know the way now. We know the way. Yeah.
let us know if you guys come to the United States too. We'd love to see you and visit with you if you guys.
Roman, where are you at, Roman?
I'm in Moscow right now.
You're in Moscow.
Yeah, and also me and my wife we were waiting for our US visa, but pandemic was started, and we just can't wait when we come. Yeah.
Yes,
Can't
you
wait
let us know when you
for
get.
Yeah, we're waiting for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we will come together and bring you, ice cream. I don't know, whatever you want, whatever you like.
Oh, you're so cute. Well, we would love that. You guys are welcome in our home anytime. So let us know if you come out too. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's still like, yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Если вам понравилось это видео,
то ставьте лайк.
и подписывайтесь на нас в Instagram.